Most men are losing at dating because they have completely misread what the game is actually about. The gym, the car, the clever opener. These things might get her attention for a moment, but they were never designed to hold it. Beneath the surface of attraction, there is an entirely different language being spoken. And if you have no idea how to read it, you will keep being someone she moves on from. You might walk away from a conversation thinking things went well. She smiled, she laughed, she held eye contact. But here is what most men don't realize. None of that is enough on its own. What actually determines whether she keeps you around is something that runs far deeper than surface level chemistry. Physical attraction is everywhere. Any woman can scan a room full of men and find plenty who are objectively good looking. But feeling a genuine, visceral, emotional pull toward someone, that is an entirely different experience, and it is far rarer. When men miss this distinction, they start chasing the wrong signals entirely. They become obsessed with decoding obvious flirting, a touch, a hair flip, prolonged eye contact, while completely missing the internal psychological shifts that actually reveal she is choosing them as her primary emotional anchor. Emotional attraction is the invisible force that makes her ignore a man who looks perfect on paper just to send a message at 2 a.m. to the one who makes her feel truly understood. This is not about logic. It is about how her entire nervous system responds to your presence. Physical attraction can ignite and extinguish within the same conversation. Emotional attraction is different. It is a slow, steady fire. Once it catches, it becomes almost impossible to smother. It rewires the way she sees you. You stop being someone she is casually spending time with and become the benchmark every other man gets measured against. The reason most men miss these signals is simple. They do not look like what we have been conditioned to expect. They are not dramatic declarations or obvious flirtation. They are subtle, automatic behavioral leaks. Unconscious shifts in how she relates to you and to the space you occupy in her world. Men keep waiting for a clear, unmistakable sign. But that is not how this works. Her heart communicates through her actions, her memory, and the depth of her comfort around you, long before her words ever catch up. Without knowing what to look for, you will keep finding yourself in the friend zone or watching promising connections dissolve for reasons you cannot quite identify. Learning to read this deeper script is what separates a man who becomes permanent from one who stays temporary. The first thing to understand is what it means when she remembers the small things. To appreciate why this matters, you have to look at how the brain actually processes information. Cognitive neuroscience tells us the brain is not a recording device. It is a merciless filter, constantly discarding data it considers irrelevant in order to conserve energy. That is why you might pass the same person every day for years and still not recall their last name. Yet a single compliment from a decade ago can be retrieved instantly. The deciding factor is always emotional weight. The brain has an internal tagging system. Any information that arrives without an emotional charge attached gets quietly deleted. But the moment feeling is involved, curiosity, excitement, attraction, the brain lifts that information out of temporary storage and locks it into long-term memory. So when she circles back to something tiny you mentioned weeks ago, the fact that you cannot stand cilantro, that your childhood dog was a beagle, that you had a difficult meeting on a random weekday, that is not casual politeness. Politeness is nodding while you speak. What she is doing is something else entirely. It means that while you were talking, her brain was running on emotional overdrive, actively flagging your words as high priority and storing them away. You had already become significant to her nervous system. She is showing you, without a single direct admission, that her internal world has begun to revolve around yours. You are no longer just another face passing through. You have been quietly relocated into the category of emotionally important, and her memory is the biological evidence of that transition. Now consider what happens when she stops performing for you. There is a widespread assumption among men that a woman who is genuinely into you will always try to appear at her absolute best, composed, charming, carefully presented. That is true during the opening phase of dating, what you might call the performance window. But here's the thing most men misread entirely. A woman who is only ever showing you her polished, curated self has not actually let you in yet. She is still keeping emotional distance. She is still protecting herself. Real lasting attraction only begins when that performance starts to come apart. Research on human connection shows clearly that genuine intimacy is impossible without what one leading expert called messy vulnerability. The moment she stops filtering herself around you, when she tells you she is having a genuinely hard day, when she vents about something that has been weighing on her, when she lets you see her exhausted, undone, and unguarded, that is not her being too much. That is the signal most men completely misinterpret. She is extending you something rare. She has made a subconscious decision that you are the one person safe enough to witness her actual self, not the version she presents to the world, but the real one. She is letting you see her fears and her struggles, knowing full well you might judge her for them. She is placing the emotional structure between you under pressure to find out whether it can hold. The shift from polished to real is the clearest possible sign of trust. She has moved past trying to impress you. She is now trying to genuinely connect with you. And that is precisely where real emotional attachment is born. Beyond vulnerability, there is another category of signals that most men dismiss as meaningless: the low-stakes, unprompted reach-out. In relationship psychology, these moments are referred to as bids for connection. A bid is any small, seemingly inconsequential gesture where one person extends a hand to another just to see if the other person will reach back. She sends you a meme with no explanation. She forwards you a link to a song she is currently listening to. She snaps a quick photo of something strange she spotted on her walk. On the surface, these look like throwaway messages. It is tempting to assume she is just bored or filling time, but something far more meaningful is happening underneath. These are not random messages. They are psychological leaks. They are evidence that your presence has become embedded in her daily emotional experience. Think about the chain of events behind each one. She had a moment of joy, a laugh, a flicker of wonder, and before her conscious mind even processed it, her brain was already redirecting that energy toward you. You have become her default destination for emotional sharing. When she tags you in something that reminded her of a conversation from last week, she is revealing that you have claimed a high priority address inside her mental world. These moments are unscripted and unplanned. They arise from her subconscious, continuously linking her positive emotional experiences back to your presence. Every time she sends one of those small, agenda-free messages, not asking for anything, not coordinating plans, just reaching out, she is quietly checking to confirm you are still there, still present, still part of her inner world. Now for the signal that causes the most damage when misread. This is the exact point where most men destroy something real because they interpret biology as bad behavior. The test. When a woman pulls back slightly, becomes briefly less available, or pushes back on something you have said, most men read it as rejection or manipulation. They see it as her being difficult. But if you understand what is actually happening beneath the surface, you realize it means the precise opposite. She is not pulling back because she is losing interest. She is pulling back because she is starting to care so deeply that the emotional stakes have become almost frightening for her. What she is doing is running a stress test on the connection. Psychologically and evolutionarily, a woman investing her emotions cannot afford to be wrong about the man she is attaching herself to. She needs to know with real certainty that if she fully lowers her guard, you will not collapse, erupt, or retreat into insecurity. As her feelings intensify, her subconscious starts asking questions. Is this man actually as stable as he appears? Is he someone my emotions will be safe with? Or will he become unpredictable the moment things get complicated? To find answers, she might withdraw her attention to see whether you spiral and begin chasing out of anxiety. She might voice a challenging opinion to see whether you cave immediately just to keep the peace or whether you stay grounded in your own perspective. She might cancel plans without much warning. The men who fail these moments are the ones who respond with passive aggression, emotional coldness, or visible desperation. Those reactions confirm exactly what she feared, that you cannot hold steady when things become emotionally weighted. The man who passes is the one who stays warm, remains unrattled, and does not abandon his center. Without saying a single word about it, he communicates that he is secure, that he can handle the full weight of a real connection. She is not testing you because she doubts you. She is testing you because she is overwhelmed by how much she actually feels for you. There is also a physical dimension to all of this that operates entirely outside of conscious awareness. You may have come across the basics of body language before, but there is a far more revealing phenomenon at work called mirroring. This is not something she decides to do. It is a biological synchronization happening between two nervous systems. When a woman feels a genuine emotional pull towards someone, her brain's mirror neurons begin firing in a way that unconsciously replicates the other person's state. You lean back and she leans back. Your voice softens and hers drops to match. In its deepest form, this extends to breathing rhythm and walking pace. Her body is communicating something her words have not yet said. I feel safe with you, and I want to be in complete alignment with you. This cannot be faked consistently. Her nervous system is literally reaching toward yours. But beyond mirroring, watch for what happens when the performance fully dissolves. In the early stages, nearly everyone is managing their image, holding themselves in flattering ways, filtering their words, carefully curating what they share. When real emotional attraction takes root, that performance collapses. Her laugh changes. It stops being the polished, restrained laugh she uses around people she is not fully comfortable with and becomes something louder, messier, and completely unguarded, sometimes to a degree that even embarrasses her. She stops sitting in ways that look presentable and starts sitting in ways that are genuinely comfortable. She starts sharing the opinions she normally keeps quiet, the obsessions she usually hides, the odd observations that do not fit her public-facing image. This unfiltered version of her is not something she offers freely. It is something she reserves for the man she has decided she can actually trust. If she is willing to be fully unpolished in your presence, it means you have moved past her outer walls and into a space most people never get to enter. Finally, pay close attention to what happens with her inner circle. In female social psychology, this circle is treated almost like something sacred. A woman's world is layered with trust, and she guards the entrance to it carefully. So when she introduces you to her closest friend or mentions you to her sister, do not mistake that for something casual. She is performing an act of social integration. She is beginning to weave you into the fabric of her actual life to see how you fit. This carries genuine risk for her. She is placing her reputation and her most valued relationships on the line. She would never do this for someone she finds only physically interesting. She does it for the man she is emotionally anchored to, the one she wants her people to know, because she has already begun imagining a version of her life in which he is a permanent part of it. And the inner circle is not limited to the people around her. It includes the landscape of her private inner world as well. When she starts sharing things that serve no practical purpose, a random childhood memory that surfaced that morning, a dream that stuck with her, a fear she has never quite known how to name, she is reaching across the emotional space between two people. She is handing you access to her internal world and saying, without those exact words, that she wants to be truly known by you. This is where attachment reaches its deepest point. At this stage, attraction is no longer something to be strategized or engineered. It has become a two-person movement built entirely on mutual trust. The thing most men spend years never figuring out is this: the less energy you pour into wondering whether she likes you, and the more you pour into being a man who offers her a stable, grounded place to be completely herself, the deeper and more unshakable the connection becomes. When she knows she can be fully seen by you, all of her, not just the easy parts, and still be fully wanted, that is the moment emotional attraction stops being temporary and becomes something neither of you can walk away from.